Welcome back to the Super Tuesday podcast. I'm your host, Dpalm, and your ears do not deceive you. Kriss has done the smartest thing possible, taking his black ass out of this country for the inauguration of the 4-year Klan rally. And so I am going to stand in as substitute teacher today. We're, of course, brought to you by MTR Network. One-stop shop for comics, gaming, TV, movies, reviews, politics, and sports. And I want to make sure that our newest initiative gets out there and gets featured at the top of every show that I'm on for a while, maybe for the year. If you're a black woman with a business or event you want to promote it for free, please email us at bwbusiness@mtrnetwork.net for your black woman shout out on the Insanity Check and to be featured across all our social media. I've got with me today a co-pilot like no other. One I can't believe I got him. Is a huge get for the show. Our boy Justin. What up, Justin, man?
See, I feel like you oversold it, right?
Oh, I totally
I'm humble.
No,
I'm honored.
I want people to think that it was someone big, and it was you.
I mean, tall maybe, but
okay. For listeners who you can't tell what we look like. You see on social media a little bit. I'm a big dude. I played guard in college. When I met Justin, I don't like people taller than me. And oh, you laugh. All right. And I was already there with one of my best friends, the best man at my wedding, who is taller than me. Always been a little point of contention in the friendship. And then I met Justin. Justin's taller than him, so it was a very long day at the con that I alleviated by spending a bunch of money on comic books that I didn't need to buy. Justin, how you doing, man?
Man, you know what? I'm all right. I can't complain, man. Still gathering myself from that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. dog. I don't know what we've done to deserve this.
This is getting too good. This is getting out of hand. Because they don't miss. It's one thing to come out and say, oh, we're going to do an episode about the Patriot. Well, that's ridiculous. You can't do it. Oh, shit, they did it. Huh.
Right? And, okay, Marvel Unlimited does this thing where when they're about to hype something, they just say, hey, by the way, you might want to read up on this character. I logged in yesterday during the commercial break for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's, hey, you should read up on the Patriot. Just, for reasons.
Because you don't need to sleep. Why sleep? Read about the Patriot. Well, that's why we're here today, man. We're doing Super Tuesday podcast. Now, a reminder: make sure you subscribe in the iTunes store. That way, even when I'm in here, substitute teaching, you can make sure you don't miss an episode. Make sure you leave a 5-star review. If you leave a 5-star review, your words will be read on the air. I don't have access to the emails this week, so if you sent one in about this episode, I please believe it's going to get read next week on air. I can guarantee that. This week's episode, Season 4, Episode 10 of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., The Patriots. Synopsis reads, continuing the streak of 4 years of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. giving the most piss-poor synopsis, separated from their team, Coulson and Mac discover a shocking secret about Mace, leaving all of S.H.I.E.L.D. in a precarious position. That's not inaccurate.
The way S.H.I.E.L.D. does their synopses, they're not lies. They just
not true.
Undersell.
They're just not the truth. It's just not a lie. It's just not the truth. A lot happens in this hour. It's a stark reminder that next week all our shows are back, and so I don't know what the hell Marvel's got up their sleeve, but if this was these last 2 weeks are off weeks, I think everyone should be nervous. Particularly a couple people who I think might be even more marked for death. But we'll talk about that soon. Episode opens up with Jeffrey Mace, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., holding a press conference praising Daisy Johnson, praising Quake. And while on its face it felt like a little ridiculous, if you look back at the history of the show, this is a show about a clandestine spy agency that worked in secret for years. It was dragged into the light, kicking and screaming, by infiltration of their greatest enemies, destroyed, and brought back in a very public manner. When they say, and the theme is going to carry out, when they say they had to do what was right for the image, I kind of get the press conference.
Yeah, it's a PR thing, and this is new for S.H.I.E.L.D., right? And not just the show, but S.H.I.E.L.D. and this Marvel universe.
In any Marvel universe.
Yeah. They have to actually deal with the public perception, right? Like the whole debate with Senator Nadir. Oh, your approval rating, sir. It's like, oh, okay, this seems kind of silly, but in the grand scheme of things, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, I mean, think about it. After years of operating in the shadows and then coming to light because you were basically an incubator for Hydra, how do people find out about S.H.I.E.L.D.? Oh, we were overtaken by the Nazi Science Division. It's not a good first impression.
And now they have to do a lot of rebuilding of the public's trust.
And if you're going to rebuild public trust, what you'd want to do, what I would want to do, I think what you would want to do, is grab Captain America, slap him out there, salute the flag, everyone cheers. Except because the thing with Tony, he's kind of a fugitive.
Exactly. So,
next best
thing. There you go. I don't know if you...
a human with similar powers who can put in a Star-Spangled suit, except kind of not really.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. I don't know if you caught this, though. The press conference where they're talking about the bridge, that's all the way back in episode 1. Remember, one of the things they're blaming Quake for was a bridge collapsing. Then May spins it as, oh, no, she was actually holding the bridge up, and here's one of the women she saved.
Like, say what you about Mason. We're going to talk a lot of shit about Jeffrey Mason this episode. He does that PR thing.
He's good at it.
He's damn good. Like irrespective of things we learned this hour, I can see why he'd be the public face of something.
He's got that all-American jaw. Like, that's what it is. It's the jaw.
The cap jaw.
He has the cap jaw.
He really does.
If Chris Evans wasn't my Captain America, I could see this guy being a Captain America on TV.
But you know what? It makes it even better? He plays a really good fill-in Captain America.
Yeah.
you feel like you're one of them other dudes.
He is substitute teacher Captain America.
And the best part about the whole scene was it's clearly making us uncomfortable because it's so over the top and ridiculous, but you watch it make Daisy uncomfortable too.
Yes. And Chloe Bennett sells it completely. She's just like, hey guys, yep, I'm an agent and this is okay, we're hugging now. Yes, we're hugging. Okay.
And they bring the lady on there to talk about being saved, and I'm like, I'm so glad. I wish they just given Daisy the mic just to see what would have happened. But then we get an attack from the Watchdogs, and am I off the mark? Is that a bullet from Luke Cage?
No, that's Judas. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, it's the Judas
bullet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
like that was the Judas.
For those of you who wanted the larger tie-ins to these Netflix shows, we may not get the larger Mike Coulter on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but you get things like Daisy being in the same orphanage as Matt Murdock. You get things like the what'd you call it again? What's it called?
They called it the Judas.
The Judas, great. And I love the crack of they don't sell those in Walmart yet.
Yes.
But for the first time, I don't know if it's the first time, but for the first time it's really been put in the forefront, you're acutely aware of the briefcase. And through the conversations with the other characters, you're aware of how aware they are of the briefcase.
Yes.
It's a really good MacGuffin that they've had in the background, kind of, but it's something that I guess they seeded long term or mid term. It's only episode 10. But it was still something that I thought that some people, I guess the complaint could be that they felt a little clunky and unnatural to have them commenting so directly on it. But I think that's what you do. Like, once the crew's back there, like, there's a new dude in that briefcase.
Yeah, because this is the first time the crew is all back together, and they're all like, yeah, this is weird. Nathanson, he's always there, always up Talbot's ass, always up Mace's ass. Like, God, Nathanson. Not Nathanson, I'm sorry, that was Burroughs.
Yeah, red shirt 1 and 2. But yeah, so the episode continues, and let's stick with the A plot for right now. We'll cover the other plots in a second. They do the math that this is probably phase 1 of an attack, so they extract the director. Mac and Coulson are on the Quinjet. Mac in a suit. We don't get Mac in a suit often.
Looks good in a suit, by the way. Like I feel like I need his tailor.
But there's clearly no space for a shotgun axe, which I think is a sartorial oversight.
See, now that you've mentioned it, why don't all Quinjets just have a compartment for shotgun axe? Like, there have to be multiple shotgun axes at this point.
Oh, there's got to be at least a Mark II.
At least.
The ship gets a hole blown in it. Burroughs gets violently expelled from the ship, along with the briefcase. And once again, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. survive a plane crash. If you want to harp on this show about one thing, it is how many plane crashes they walk away from.
That everyone else in the plane, how many crashes have the agents survived that, the pilot, he just got impaled by a tree, that's all.
No, the question, McCafferty. I wonder, is McCafferty okay? He is clearly not okay.
Sure, guys. Sure.
Can we just give him red shirts from now on?
I feel like that would be easier. Just clearly mark.
Wardrobe-wise.
I'm like that one almost took me out of the show just because I was like, I get it, you guys. It's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. You guys want to show, show off, but you impaled a man with a tree. Okay, sure, we'll do that.
Yeah, do you? I'm not going to judge you. So they get to the ground. They assume, Coulson and Mac both assume that they've got their weapons and the asset, which is what they're referring to the director as. And it kind of makes sense from just a strictly strategic standpoint from what they know. Like, hey, we've got these guns. We've also got an Inhuman powerhouse. But the Inhuman powerhouse is dead set on finding Burroughs. First under the auspices of, we don't leave a man behind, which is the kind of PR bullshit he would say. And I kind of bought it. But then you're like, wait a second. And then he becomes explicitly focused after being called out by Coulson on the briefcase.
Right.
At this point, I'm still married, but I'm going to take you through my watching. I was so married to my LMD thing. I was like, well, that's like, because when Burroughs stopped him from chasing down the sniper, he said, we're on the clock.
So that was a clue. I was like, on the clock for what?
Yo, I was like, this is a robot that needs a tune-up. That's a control case. The further it gets away he gets, the more unhinged the LMD becomes. I got all these crazy fantasy booking things in my head. But what they did was so much simpler and made so much more sense.
Yeah, and I give them a lot of props. Do we want to talk about that thing now, or?
Yeah, let's talk about because he comes fairly clean to Mac and Coulson. Then we'll come back to this plot after we go to the next plot. But you're right. We finally they think of a plan. They get to the case, and Mace catches a bullet and gets his serum shot up.
Yeah.
And a huge tip of the cap to the MCU, the serum was blue like it was in Captain America First Avenger.
Yes.
It's blue like it was, like the serum they operated on in the Hulk with Ed Norton. And it's blue like the super soldier serum found in the back of Tony's mom and dad's car in Civil War.
But they made it a point to say this isn't the Erskine project.
Right, and it was very weird that they made the differentiation that early, but it paid off later in a scene that made me want to scream at television. All right, let's go back to the other crew, the crew who didn't get on the plane, who didn't get shot out of the air. The game now is to interrogate this sniper who you know nothing about.
Well, one thing we know about ex-Hadragoons, they hate being left out of conversations.
Dude, like, why is your need to interject your weakness?
And I feel like that was May's play the whole time. It was like, I mean, look, I don't know what we're going to do. We're just going to talk about him. Yeah, we'll just talk about him. Yeah, he failed. Yeah, he's trash. He's so trash. Hold up, man. I'm not that trash. I mean, we knew this was going to happen.
He feels like a Knicks fan.
God damn.
Like I'm saying, no, he feels like anyone from, like any Knicks fan. Because if you say the Knicks, out of the works. Are you talking about the Knicks, son? I'm like, yo, how about you relax? Right? Am I wrong?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay. They pop out of nowhere. He feels, and this may be a little salt and some wounds, like a Cowboys fan.
See, now that's too soon.
That's too soon for them, not for me. I'm not a Cowboys fan. It's not too soon for me. It's right on time, Justin. Right on time.
Oh, you guys see the Axe Murderer in 4 days.
Hey, we're having a nice conversation about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I will not allow you to ruin that for me.
You're right.
But you're right. The diversionary, the tactic to get information out of the man, because when they said they were sending May, and I'm like, is this where we get Robo May realizing she's a robot, but she accidentally kills the guy? I was like, is her torture going to be like way stronger than she thought? But no, she just came to, I guess, talk about old dude, so he felt the need to defend himself.
One of my favorite shows was Burn Notice. And in Burn Notice, they make like an explicit point to say torture doesn't work. Like throughout the entire show, they're like, yeah, torture doesn't work. What works is trying to get people talking and making them comfortable. And May just pulled a Michael Weston. Like, she was just like, if I can just get you to say something, okay, cool. Now we got something to go on. This is phase 1. So let's see what we're going to do next. And then Gemma and Fitz, or Gemma's plan to interrogate him.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to Gemma's plan.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's very, very, it was another case of Gemma Simmons knocking out of the park, and I'm going to miss one of her or Fitz whenever they decide to kill them. Another plot, because this show, that's the thing, I was making my notes for the show, that they just start stacking plots all of a sudden, and all of a sudden, and they always bring it together, and they always make it make sense, but it can feel like at times a bit of a disjointed show because while all this is happening with the snipers and trying to figure out why they did it and who shot at them, we've got this other plot, the bigger plot, the meta plot of this run of the show of Radcliffe.
Who is content in playing the long game. And
the longest game.
I appreciate that for my big bads. I really do.
But it's interesting because he's not... Is he the big bad? Because he seems to be a decent guy who's blinded by science and his convictions that he can get, unlock the secret to eternal life. The methods he's chosen are obviously not great. They're sub-ideal.
I'm not saying he's evil. I'm just saying he's going to drive most of the conflict.
He definitely is. But you see him like he's got a weird like pacifist vibe. Like he gets openly mad at Ada, which I have to remind all the listeners, he's mad at his toaster. Like he's mad at the toaster for burning toast, i.e. killing someone, and then says to himself, I should probably turn down your violent settings, which means turn your fucking toaster down, man. Like I don't
the fact
see why...
that was an option, like maybe that should have been the default.
Why'd you turn it up? Wait a second. You're 100% right. And then like the scene where May breaks free and she's got her choked off the wall, like first of all, they've done a very good job of establishing what a badass May is, which made me terrified of Ada.
Ada lifted her off the ground like a petulant child.
Like it was nothing.
Like, okay, you're throwing a tantrum, it's time to go night-night. And she was about to put May down for good.
But, that's the thing is she had just been told by Radcliffe not to harm anyone else. But she said that my number one directive is to protect you. So that means that we've got that law of robotics shit that can be really kind of problematic.
Look, every time we have the three laws, it never works.
That
like
one
anytime
law
you try to
seems
give a
to
robot,
bite you in the ass.
Yes, every time you try to give a robot a directive of preservation, it always comes back to the same conclusion. Well, you're the problem. You're the biggest threat.
You're 100% right. 100% right. And what's interesting is that they've done this because of the way they've done it, because of the way they explained it in the show. They said that the LMD May is more advanced because we put the idea of being May in her subconscious. Have you watched Westworld?
Yes, I have. So
Holy
Tiff got me to
shit.
watch Westworld. Yo, so you made that reference last week with Kriss, and I was just like, I already know where he's going with this. Oh my god.
No, because even throughout the episode, she just keeps saying something feels off. She's recounting specific memories with Coulson, particularly driving Lola, which, by the way, I see you long game, Coulson. She was probably married back then, wasn't she, Coulson?
You were still with the celloist back then, Coulson.
No, this is pre that, because she said Coulson had a mustache.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
This is way back when. Coulson was the dirtiest of Macs.
Because Andrew was in the picture.
Yo, this is Coulson on his Bobby Petrino. You want to ride my motorcycle?
God.
You want to go for a ride, see how fast it can go?
That is the number one.
It's the dirty Mackiest move, man. I bet Joe was playing in the background, man.
Bobby Womack. No, Bobby Womack. I wish he didn't trust me so much.
All the things your man won't do. Let you drive a flying car. That's got to be on the list.
Like, now we're doing this. Coulson probably had a Dirty Mac playlist, right?
Dog, what? The car's name is Lola.
He knew what he was doing.
He knew exactly what he was doing. That's why Coulson's a spy. The rest of us are just peasants.
Exactly.
One more subplot. We touched on Radcliffe and kind of what he's doing. Let's go deeper into it because, like we said, May is out there. She's LMD May, is out there. El May D? Nah, I'll get there. I'll figure something out. LMD May is out there. She doesn't know what she is. She's undercover without being undercover. She's trying to. The entire goal is to get her hands in the Darkhold, which is a really good way to tie the first half of the season to this part of the season.
Yes.
But it takes a character we all love into a really ambiguous, weird place because I think we're all collectively screaming at Leo Fitz, don't do it, don't open the door.
So, I was watching, the second time I watched this, I couldn't like place what the feeling watching May was giving me. Then it hit me. The same feeling I got watching May is the same feeling I get anytime Steve Rogers shows up in a book that's not his own.
Oh, now?
Yes.
That impending, like, he's going to kill someone. She's going to kill someone. Like, you're right. It turns May's scenes into horror movies.
Yes. Because Radcliffe has this moment where he says, she's going to climb the ranks. She's going to be a good agent, the best agent she could be. What is the next thing we see May do? Give me command of the Zephyr. Which is, yes, that is a thing May would do, but now we're like, is she doing that because that's what May would do, or
100%.
because that's what Radcliffe wants May to do?
Yeah, you're 100% right. But they've even found a way, I guess, where you saw Ada building that brain. I guess they found a way to recapture the memories or things. To really kind of have it act in line with what May would do. It adds in a lot of questions that Whedon likes to sprinkle through his writing, which I assume will be addressed next week as we have Patton Oswalt as the Koenig brothers coming back again, which, by the way, I yelled LMD season 1. No one wanted to hear me. It's fine. But what happens is he likes to play with the idea of what's a man. If you've ever watched Buffy, with Spike getting back his soul was a big deal. What makes a man a man? Angel, the entire premise of that show is, can I be a man and a vampire? Dollhouse. Hell, Serenity. Firefly. The show's about what do you do, how do you define yourself post-war? And for them as the Whedon writing collective, because at this point they're all one big brain, them doing this with the LMDs, particularly with the shot at the end of May, we'll talk about later, it's really interesting, and it never feels like retreaded ground. It just feels like a concept that they found a lot of narrative money in. There's a lot of gold to be mined there, and I got to tell you, as someone who's a fan of this work, I'm a fan to see where this goes.
Well, it's not just unique to the Whedons. How often in sci-fi do we see the trope of what is the measure of a man? Right? Whether it's Star Trek, whether it's Mass Effect, all of these other different sci-fi shows have tried to explore these narratives, and now we get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doing it, and they're doing their own spin on it, right? Like, so what is May? Is May just a collection of memories? The way she recalled driving Lola, she said, there's an image in my head. Almost as if she was struggling to say, like, is this just a picture I remember, or is this
that was
a
really
lived
weird
experience?
Wording, wasn't it?
Yes. So I'm really interested to see where they go with this and ultimately where it ends up with May. Like they found another way to expand on May's character arc through a pseudo May.
Mm-hmm. You're right. They've kind of advanced her by replacing her, which is interesting. And when she gets back, if she gets back, #blame Kriss, then the fallout's also going to be super interesting and ripe for storytelling purposes. Let's talk about Fitz, because Fitz is making mistakes, man. Look, you're married. I'm engaged. Does lying to your partner work?
Never, not ever.
Better question. Does lying to your partner about a potentially evil cyborg seem like it's going to work?
Have you ever played Mass Effect?
You know what? You're getting me in trouble again. I have not.
Okay. There's a specific reference I was going to make that like ties all this together.
No, make it.
But I can't make it right now.
Our listeners will know it because I get ridiculed for not playing the game.
Okay, so in Mass Effect 3, there's a certain ending choice that Tiff makes, because Tiff is very anti-artificial intelligence.
As we all should be, as I discussed last week.
But, I made a more pro-artificial intelligence choice, and I'm still ridiculed about that to this day. So, no, lying about robots to your spouse never works. Never, not ever. Yeah, although it was cute how Fitz tried to dig himself out of the hole. He was like, although the problem, the issue wasn't that I made it, it's that I didn't tell you.
Which is the longest of lessons to learn there, Fitz.
Yes. Which, while admirable, but if we had you, it would have worked. And she's like, that's not the point.
She's like, first of all, thank you for complimenting my intelligence. Second of all, thank you for insulting my intelligence, because that's not going to work.
Because I wouldn't have helped you.
No, it was good manipulation attempt by Fitz. But it's just a reminder how great they are together and how well they play off each other and how much you're going to miss one of them when they kill the other. But
yeah,
at the same time, Coulson and Mac are coming to grips with Mace's new stance in life. Project Patriot's coming to light even in the base. With Fitz is either like the meanest boss ever, or Jim was behind him echoing what he said, because when he told all the technicians to get out of the room, he did it very quietly, and they all left very quickly.
Yes. Like, that was guys, you might want to It's that feeling you get when you see mom and dad are about to fight, or grandma and grandpa about to fight, and all the cousins are like, I want to watch, but I don't want to get a whooping either.
I'll just watch these highlights on SportsCenter.
There we go.
Time to catch the whole game. But Project Patriot is laid bare kind of in the contrasting scenes here with Glenn Talbot, by the way, who is a comedic genius. He's got great timing and great deadpan delivery of all the corny shit they make him say. They admit that they wanted a enhanced person to be the face of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they couldn't find anyone to do it. So they made their own.
They go back to a line at the mid-season finale. He outright says Daisy was rogue, so it's almost like they were going to make Daisy the face of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep, 100%. And that's, it seems like that maybe where we're headed. Which I'll miss Coulson because Coulson give him the keys if he's alive, in my opinion.
There's ways to bring them. I mean, we've seen there's ways to bring back.
We got LMDs. Like I want to tell you, like we got LMDs. But you're right. I think that kind of hints towards that's gonna be one of the reveals late in the season. Like it's gonna be like a harrowing moment. I can't believe you picked this guy to be director. Daisy, I picked you, but you left. I think it's gonna be a reveal that happens. If that's a spoiler, that's a guess. If it turns into a spoiler, don't get mad at me.
They all but said it in the mid-season finale.
100% true. They did. They really did suggest it heavily. And so we get Gemma Simmons once again for the second week in a row, mind you, because last week she tried to be undercover and got into a fight and won the fight. And this time she channeled her inner, I was undercover with Hydra and I'm going to scare the shit out of this guy. Which, by the way, when he spoke in that accent, I was really hoping I was getting Leviathan. Is this tie back to season 1 of Agent Carter?
Yes.
My antenna are up for Leviathan references, but it looks like it's a Hydra cell that's glommed onto the Friends of Humanity, the Watchdogs.
So hold on. Can we just take a moment to appreciate? Not only have they done the Friends of Humanity, they've done Robert Kelly better than the X-Men have.
I don't want to talk about it. Look, Kriss and I did that, in case you're listening to this and you want to listen to more stuff that we do, we did a character recording this past weekend of Colossus and Kitty Pryde. Kriss, we went in very hopeful, and Kriss left just pissed because he realized that we're never going to get that X-Men anywhere, ever.
Made even more frustrating by the fact that the cast they have, for the most part, could probably pull off that X-Men.
You know what? The thing is, maybe I don't know anything about Cudmore to like say his acting chops pull off Colossus. Ellen Page could play Kitty though.
Yep. She
was a good Kitty that just had shitty writing, and effects, and marketing, and plot. It was really bad. It was bad series of movies. By the way, just a quick detour. I would say the only passable one at this point is X1. And with X1 because of nostalgia, X2 because it's actually a really good movie. The rest are garbage.
Yeah.
And this is someone who didn't see Apocalypse.
So, we'll have to talk offline. But my dad finally saw Apocalypse. I told him not to.
I really can't do it. Like, people think that Transformers ban is bad. Like, the X-Men have hurt me. Someone tried to defend Days of Future Past me and said, stop, who's the bad guy?
And that's the thing. There is no antagonist until maybe the last 15 minutes.
None.
You can't say it's Trask because
the bad guy is time. I rest my case. All right, back to the show. So we've got our Friends of Humanity knockoffs. We've got our Senator Kelly knockoffs. It only stands to reason that we have our MGH knockoffs. But while we have Coulson, Mac, and Mace pinned down in this tiny room, they realize they're out of serum, but the bad guys don't know it. And you get kind of the showmanship of Coulson. You get the spy work, and he says they don't know. And Mace puts the suit on in a bout of, from what I'm understanding, uncharacteristic bravery. Especially on the heels of his admission that the picture in Vienna is not what it looks like.
Right. So, I had a question about that.
All right, go ahead.
Gemma seemed surprised at Project Patriot, but she knew enough to blackmail Mace in episode 2. So did she know that he tripped?
I think she knew that the Vienna picture wasn't the Vienna incident wasn't what everyone said it was.
Okay. Seems legit.
I think that's fair, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Well, that's good. Yeah. So while this is all happening, while they're bluffing with the Watchdogs, they're trying to stall for Shield to get there, and Shield finds out the location by Jemma Simmons. Like I said, got in a fight last week. This week she's acting like a Hydra goon. She's showing the other Hydra goon a decapitated head.
I will get inside your head one way or the other.
It's not the worst ploy.
Violence perceived is violence achieved.
Me, myself, I would have attacked that android's head with an axe as soon as I was done. Like, I wouldn't let... I've got a thing about artificial intelligence, but, like, it seems like Gemma might too. Like, Gemma hated Inhumans, she hates AI. I think she was right about one of them. But, go ahead.
I at least understand the argument behind both of them.
Oh, I can understand the argument behind both of them, but... yes, I'm not going to sit here and defend my hatred and distrust of AI, but it's there and it's real. That said, this works. This ploy works. This ruse they perpetrate works, and they get the location of Coulson and friends, and you get a great scene of Jeffrey Mace trying to sell that he has powers. And he's still being corny. He's still being Mace, but you know he's bluffing. It's my second favorite scene of the episode, behind Hail to the Chief being the president's ringtone for Talbot.
And Talbot just like, yes, now if you'll excuse me, I have to talk to the leader of the free world.
I was hoping it'd be someone else on the phone because it's a really good cover ringtone, but it makes me happy that it's the president.
No, because Talbot is such an abject tool, of course he would have Hail to the Chief as the president's ringtone.
You say that like I'm not going to take people's phones next time I'm not going to take Susan's phone the next time I get a chance and turn my ringtone in her phone to that.
If you can pull that off.
Because I'm a child. And I make no apologies, sir. None.
Well, I mean, it's either that or the Kenny Omega theme.
Look, man, I'm not talking about... I already watched that match the other day.
It's so good, right?
So good. Tell me a story in a 20 by 20 ring, why don't you? Anyway, back to the story they told us on our television screen last night. I really enjoyed, no matter how corny Talbot was, Fitz being right beside him, saying he's helping with air quotes.
Yes.
It's amazing. They eventually get there. They save Coulson and crew. Mace's secrets are laid bare to the light. And they end up going back to the Shield base. Talbot, Coulson, Mace have it out. They have the conversation they should have been having all the time. And Mace sides with Coulson.
And we find out that, like, at his core, Mace is a guy that wants to do good.
He's also an untrained idiot who doesn't necessarily know how. He's like, I've never fired a live rifle. Never thought I'd have to take the training.
Right.
Which blew my mind.
But he's also really good at this PR thing. So, like, have a place in S.H.I.E.L.D. They could also still keep giving him the Mr. Hyde formula. By the way,
let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
I get it. It's something that's proven to work. I don't like Talbot's assertion that they pulled all the bad stuff out. That doesn't make me feel good about it.
So you know that's coming back, right?
Yeah. Like, every time he got mad without the serum, I was like, do it. Do it. But
it's,
they kept
again, it's the long game, right? Like, we'll start see, I haven't had the shot yet, or I need it. Well, do you need the powers now? Just in case.
I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. You ain't got to get ready.
If you stay ready.
And it feels like you're right. I think that could be the arc for Mace here. He becomes a stay ready all-star. Which could be very bad.
By saying that in no way, shape, or form is going to end well for any of our heroes.
Yep. But it does end well for this conversation. Talbot's kicked out. Coulson pitches what I thought they should have been doing the whole damn time. Says, you keep kissing babies, going on television shows. I run this here.
Now look at me. I am the captain now. And I think it's the minute
it was more like someone calls. It was someone calls Mace, says, "Oh, director, I'm gonna put you through." Like he didn't even take it. He was handed to him. Because Mace wanted to step down.
Right. Well, because we learned that even though the picture in Vienna is fake, he did try to tell people, yo, that's not me. But they wanted to make me a hero. So when I had the opportunity to be Patriot, of course I jumped at it. Which, all right, now substitute teacher Cap, he even has that same personality trait. I just want to do good.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And I think they did a really good job of making the lie feel real, but not having the audience hold it against the character.
Right.
Because a lot of times if you lie to an audience, people will start to distrust your show. Hello, Mr. Robot Season 2. But with this, because of the earnestness and his motivations seem, at least for episode 10, so pure and so altruistic, it's hard to hold that grudge.
And it also helps that we were sort of clued into a lie being present early on. Right?
100%.
Like the whole thing with Gemma, we knew a lie was present, but then when we got to know Mace, we're like, okay, well, if it's a lie, I'm sure there's a good reason for it. Okay, there's a good reason for the lie. Almost sort of mirroring Radcliffe. Yeah, his reasons may be pure, but we know that it's going to end poorly for everyone involved. Especially, did you notice Ada getting, I don't know if that was jealousy I saw, but Ada did not seem to like the fact that Radcliffe was like, yes, May is superior because she doesn't know she's an LMD.
Okay, you're falling into the Westworld trap. You're attaching emotions to toasters.
Is it me attaching emotions to toasters when the emotions have been programmed into the toaster?
But that's the same thing. But that's the thing, though, is that I don't think the emotions were programmed, in particular with Ada, as they've made it very clear she's not the most advanced AI. You're doing the same thing that Fitz did last episode where he says, it seems like she's mad at us.
Yes. I'll rephrase. I don't think she's jealous. I think she sees another way to fulfill her objective.
I see.
And says, oh, if May is superior, then I know what I need to do.
Upgrade myself to be superior.
Yes.
And you know what? That's a path they could go down that's legitimately terrifying. Like self-correcting robots is very uneasy. But you're right. I think it's 100% true. I just think that this has all been really, really well done. I think that someone said that the Mace revelation is probably a plot for Captain America 3 that was scrapped in favor of Civil War. And that's the other thing, is that it feels logical because it doesn't feel, when they originally introduced the idea of the 08 Force, the unknown items that S.H.I.E.L.D. would lock into a vault, they made it very clear that sometimes these items are experimented on. It stands to reason that a reformed S.H.I.E.L.D., upon receiving Mr. Hyde formula, would say, we got to pull it apart and figure out how to make it tick.
I mean, this is the closest thing we have to a working super soldier formula.
And it also speaks to something that I've loved about the MCU, which is a subtle, and it's probably me like fantasy booking in my head, but it's a subtle thing that also tied into the Ultimate Marvels series, all those series. Once you've achieved Cap, it becomes a superhero arms race. Of course there's going to be a Hulk from someone trying to replicate super soldier theorem. Of course there's going to be Mr. Hyde. Like in the Ultimate Universe, it's how they explain Spider-Man. There's Osborn trying to get in the super soldier's business, and of course they're going to be offshoots. And I think that's a great way to see the universe beyond Inhumans fish oil pills. Even just identifying that as something that, oh yeah, we took this technology and tried to make it better and more usable, that puts on the table nefarious forces doing the same thing.
Yes. And throughout your various shows, we've seen other people try to attain powers or try to match the arms race, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's through power armor, special bullets, mind control. There are ways of, hey, if these people exist, if we are going to have super soldiers, we need countermeasures.
All right, now let's talk about two quick things at the end of this episode, one of which was very blatant, one of which I think was a little more subtle. Let's start subtle. Is Fitz still Fitz?
Fitz is Fitz. So, okay. Fitz is Fitz, but I think what Fitz is going to find out is that Ada was always Ada, and it was never the Darkhold.
Which could result in Fitz getting replaced.
Because that has to happen, right? Once Fitz figures out what's going on, then the logo is going to have Fitz highlighted and May highlighted.
Ooh, nicely done. Pulling in the promo materials. Look at you.
They said it. There's a reason all of them are on that banner.
You're 100%. And
Uh,
I really enjoyed Talbot saying that they mostly fixed the formula. Like, that's, yeah.
we took most of the bad stuff out. Oh, okay, so you're just mostly idiots then.
Yep. This is a very good episode because I thought it tied to a lot of the MCU things that have been set with the bullets and with Cap, and I think that it really seeds something that's going to be pretty interesting going forward. Let's talk about the blatant one because you're of the mind that Fitz still fits today.
Today, yes.
Okay.
I don't think it will stay Fitz by the end of the show.
The Fitz clock is running, if you will.
Yes, Fitz is on the clock.
You know, it'd be weird. I mean, you know, it'd be really just terrible. No, I'm not going to say it. I'll get in trouble with that one.
We're thinking the exact same thing.
Probably. Let's talk about the big twist ending, the post-credit stinger. May know she's a robot.
So does May know she's a robot?
She knows she's metal.
There we go. I don't think May's made the leap of I'm an LMD yet.
Well,
May
she knew enough to lie to Daisy.
Yes. Which, hey, remember when we said teaching LMDs to lie was a bad idea?
This is part of why.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you again. You know, you and I have done a pretty good job of tying this to our history, to our sci-fi roots. How many times in your sci-fi experience have you noticed that the robot that wasn't supposed to know it's a robot, finding out it's a robot going and it goes well?
Nope, never, not ever.
Yeah, I'm glad you put the time in. That's what I really do appreciate. You're right, man. I think that this ends really poorly for everyone. I don't know how really to say who. LMAD is aware that something's not just off anymore, that there's metal beneath her shoulder. After that very well choreographed fight between her, Mac, and the mercenary.
Yes.
How do you see this going forward?
So, I don't think she goes back to Radcliffe. Right? Because Radcliffe's whole thing is she can't know to come back to me because she needs plausible deniability. But I think at some point she's going to have to reveal the secret to someone, that someone might be Fitz, and that might be how we get Fitz replaced.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
Who?
She gonna tell Coulson. You saw how sad she got when she thought he was dead?
But that's why I think she won't tell Coulson.
Oh.
It's that bond and that need to be Coulson's friend. No, I can't tell him, but I got to tell somebody to help fix me. Not going to tell Gemma.
You're right.
Fitz is the only one that's been sympathetic to LMD so far.
Jim was also the bio and the chemist expert. Fitz is the robotics guy.
Which is why she'd probably go to Fitz.
Ah, shit. You're right. So for you guys want to know, this is #blame Justin. I didn't kill Fitz this time. That was Justin.
I'll take that one.
I especially didn't have him replaced off screen and then get found in a broom closet like 6 weeks later. I definitely didn't say that on the air. Oh, wait.
Oh, my God. We were thinking the exact same thing.
I was like, yeah, we're thinking the same thing. We stopped doing grades for this show, so no grades. I'm not going to put you on the spot like that. But I tell you what, man, next week looks like it's going to be a real barn burner. They know the competition's back. They're bringing back Patton Oswalt, which is going to... And that's the thing about the show is that they don't slow play a whole bunch. And now that May knows she's, like you said, not entirely human, which is a great differentiation by you, I think this is going to hit the gas pedal pretty aggressively.
Right, and like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does this great thing where they play out these long storylines, but the pacing is so quick it doesn't feel like a slow burn. But it's definitely a long game. And Flash, Legends of Tomorrow. So I know what's going to happen. Flash is going to come back. We're all going to see Wally in the suit. We're going to be like, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. Legends of Tomorrow is going to come back. We're going to be like, oh my God, the Legion of Doom. Snart's back. This is amazing. And then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to come back. We're going to be like, and that's why you're king.
Yeah. It's a scheduling quirk that every week Flash blows my socks off, and every week, an hour later, S.H.I.E.L.D. makes me forget that Flash happened. It's just, it's the curse of the time they've chosen. It's the Ewing curse. It's the being born and playing in the NBA between 91 and 98. You just weren't going to get rings because Jordan. We're not done here today. We've got one more piece of news to cover. Today's New Comic Day. We're not going to cover New Comics Day, sadly, though you should go pick up Clone Conspiracy, and you should go pick up Justice League vs. Suicide Squad's not bad. Nightwing's great, and I recently read the entire run of Squadron Supreme, which is James Robinson and Leonard Kirk, and it's really, 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 really good. It's only 15 issues. But we've got Spider-Man news, not Tom Holland, Peter Parker Spider-Man, but we have an animated Spidey movie which will be announced coming out in December 21st, 2018. It's going to the big screen. So that's something we didn't know then. We've always known this movie was coming. There were rumors about it, but it was confirmed that the Spider-Man being written by Phil Lord and Chris Miller will be Miles Morales. We go straight to Justin for reaction.
Yeah. So again, we knew this movie was coming. I was excited about it because I was like, okay, cool. It'll show up on Netflix. I can get the DVD. Oh, no, big screen. I'm like, okay, good for you, Sony. Good for you still trying to make movies on your own brand, even though it's all Marvel. I'm really excited about this because Miles is a relatively new character, right? Like, I don't think he has an iconic run or like an iconic story you have to tell.
Right.
So there's a lot of just generic Spider-Man stories you can tell, but just sprinkle the Miles cast in and it'll be awesome.
Right.
Spider-Man Homecoming is basically a Miles Morales story of a kid Spider-Man wanting respect from the older heroes and then getting into his own mischief.
It's also a Peter story, let's just be fair.
Well, it was a 1980s, 90s Peter story, and it's 2017 now, so now that's a Miles story.
Well,
I took your chain, man. He took the chain.
We're not doing this fight right now. I will say this. I have been pro Peter Parker as far as being the cinematic Marvel Spider-Man because I just think the legacy is so important, especially when you tie to the I don't think we had the new origin of Miles yet, the new 616 origin, but the I'm really embarrassed. I'm not going to say the number, but I do know the number of the Ultimate Universe. His origin is
1610.
Thank you for not making me the nerdiest person on this podcast.
One of us had to do.
That original, the way he got his powers is directly tied to Peter. So we're going to find out eventually, I bet, that we get the origin of 616. But I think it's really important that you get him out there as soon as possible. They did a great job in the Ultimate Spider-Man television show, which I don't watch, but I've actually heard good things about, using Donald Glover to voice Miles Morales. They've done different ways to ingratiate Miles. They keep reminding, every time Miles and Peter are together in the comics, Peter says, I'm just mad because your costume's that much better than mine. And it gives me the opportunity to bring up one of my favorite Peter Parker moments of all time. He's on the stand, facing an attorney, in full Spider regalia. So Spidey, looking back at all these personal attacks, you got to ask, why, in your opinion, does Jameson have it out for you? At first, didn't really know. Over the years, and after some very serious thought and soul searching, I think I figured it out. The real reason Jonah hates me is because I'm black. It's done as a laugh line, it's done as an applause line, and in reading it, I laugh and applaud. It's also the undeniable appeal of Spider-Man. Anybody can be under that mask. And by them doing wide release animated Miles Morales, that opens the door. Because what they've taught us in Marvel now, you don't have to kill Peter to give us Miles.
And that was the conventional wisdom, right? Like, the wisdom was you have to care about Peter for Miles to matter. Now it's maybe not, right?
Well, I think the conventional wisdom was more you have to care about the legacy for Miles.
That's fair.
And they found a way to do it without killing Peter, which I'm excited to have two Spider-Man movies in the course of 2 years that will neither. I swear to God, Homecoming, don't do this to me. Don't make me a liar. But neither movie should have an uncle getting killed by a burglar.
I mean, one of the movies is going to have
that's why I said it the way I said it. I know what I said.
If the villain of the Miles movie is who I think it is.
I know what I said, Justin.
Yeah.
No uncles killed by burglars.
There we go. One thing Disney has done, like you said, they brought in Miles for Ultimate Spider-Man. They've been using their animated shows to get people used to the ideas of what they want to, of like the more experimental stuff.
Right.
Right? Like the new Spider-Man show they're coming out with, it's basically the Web Warriors. Mm-hmm. It's Spider-Gwen, Miles, Peter, I think Spider-Ham, and maybe Spider-Man Noir. But they're actually doing a Web Warrior show.
Which makes sense. It's smart.
Yeah. before Disney Infinity was canceled, they were going to give you a Spider-Gwen figure. Again, it is Disney using all their properties to slowly introduce things and slowly get used to the idea of seeing them. And it's like, oh yeah, no, that is Spider-Man. Oh yeah, no, I know who that is.
So I've got a friend, this guy listens to the podcast, who took his family to Disneyland over holidays. First of all, he told me, don't do that. It's the devil. But he also told me, because as you know, Disneyland has a large, like a Marvel Island.
Yes.
In the Marvel Island store, this is where I, years ago, bought the Inferno Saga for the first time. But now, apparently, if you go in the store, they've got the Spider-Man stuff, but it's Peter right beside Miles in equal quantities. One of the beautiful things they've done with Miles is they've attached him to Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman, all in this group, the single most recognizable character superhero on the planet. It's Spider-Man. Full stop. Spider-Man's merch does better numbers in years where Batman has a movie than Batman merch. And what they've done with Miles so expertly is woven him, woven him into the tapestry of Spider-Man. They made him an integral part of the franchise. It's only a matter of time before he hits the big screens as a live-action character. I can't wait for that. I'm actually super excited. Like you said, Miller and Lord, they do good work. I'm excited for this animated Spider-Man to come out. I'm excited to see Miles Morales on the big screen. I'm excited for the end of Spider-Man 3, the third Tom Holland Spider-Man, where presumably he'll be graduating high school. Wouldn't it be great at his graduation if we get a shot of a kid getting bit by a spider? Wouldn't that be a great way to graduate Tom Holland to the big leagues, to the Avengers, have him appear in those movies now, and give the Spider-Man franchise, hand that baton off, man?
Let's just keep it there. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can weave Miles into this now.
We're sitting here fantasy booking. The thing is, this is one of Marvel's biggest strengths, particularly in media outside their comics. It's all so good. There's so many ways to do it right, and whether they choose my way or they choose another way, like the Doctor Strange movie, I didn't know I wanted to see that movie until I saw it. I didn't know I wanted what they could offer me. I didn't know how much I was, let's call it, turned off by the disaster porn that some superhero movies have turned into, that them rebuilding a city as the climax of Doctor Strange was like jarring and really entertaining.
Like as Wong said, don't stop now, keep going.
He literally for everything you've ever said about superhero disaster porn, Doctor Strange said, "Oh, I'm just going to reverse it then." It's kind of brilliant, and it's kind of super meta, and it's kind of Marvel being like, "Bet you didn't think we'd do that shit, now did you?"
So if you want to make this really, really meta,
make it meta.
Everything lives.
That's it. I'm out. That was well done by you. Justin, tell the people where to find you, man.
Oh, man. Thanks for having me. You can find me on Twitter at LJAY90. You can also check out the podcast, ThreeFifsPodcast, ThreeFifsPodcast.com. The number 3Fifs Podcast on Twitter. Yeah, you can find us there. Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you being on, man. Again, Dpalm, MTR Network. Follow me on Twitter at Dpalm66. Follow MTR Network at the MTR Network. Subscribe in the iTunes Store. Leave 5-star reviews. Get your word heard on the air. And we'll see you next week.